The Book of Education, page 33 to 35, entitled The Education of Israel. The system of education established in Eden centered in the family. Adam was the son of God, Luke 3 verse 38. And it was from their father that the children of the highest received instructions. There is in there there's in the true sense was a family school. In the divine plan of education as adapted to man's condition after the fall, Christ stands as the representative of the Father. The connecting link between God and man is the great teacher of mankind, and he ordained that men and women should be his representatives. The family was the school, and the parents were the teachers. The education centering in the family was that which prevailed in the days of patriarchs. For the schools thus established, God provided the conditions most favorable for the development of character. The people who were under his direction still pursued the plan of life that he had appointed in the beginning. Those who departed from God built for themselves cities, and congregating in them, gloried in the splendor, the luxury, and the vice that make the cities of today the world's pride and its curse. But the man who held fast God's principle of life dwelt among the fields and hills. They are tillers of the soil and keepers of flocks and herds. And in this free, independent life, with its opportunities for labor and study and meditation, they learned of God and taught their children of his works and ways. This was the method of education that God desired to establish in Israel. But when brought out of Egypt, there were among the Israelites few prepared to be workers together with him in the training of their children. The parents themselves needed instruction and discipline. Victims of lifelong slavery, they were ignorant, untrained, degraded. They had, they had little knowledge of God and little faith in Him. They were confused by false teaching and corrupted by their long contact with heathenism. God desires to lift them the higher moral level, and to his end he sought to give them a knowledge of himself. In his dealings with the wonders in the desert, in all their marching to and fro, in their exposure to hunger, thirst, and weariness, in their peril from hidden foes, and in the manifestation manifestation of his providence for their relief. God was seeking to strengthen their faith by revealing to them the power that was continually working for their good, and having taught them to trust in his love and power. It was his purpose to set before them the precepts of his law, the standard of character to which, through his grace, he desired them to attain. Precious were the lessons taught to Israel during their sojourn at Sinai. This was a period of special training for the inheritance of Canaan, and their surroundings here were favorable for the accomplishment of God's purpose on the summit of Sinai, overshadowing the plain where the people spread their tents. Rested the pillar of cloud which had been the guide of their journey, a pillar of fire by night, It assured them of the divine protection, and while they were locked in slumber, the breath of heaven fell gently upon the encampment. On every hand, vast rugged heights, vast rugged heights, and their solemn grandeur spoke of eternal endurance and majesty. Man was made to feel his ignorance and weakness in the presence of him who hath weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. Isaiah 40 verse 12. Here by manifestation of his glory, God sought to impress Israel with the holiness of his character and requirements and the exceeding guilt of transgression. But the people were slow to learn the lesson. Accustomed as they had been in Egypt to material representation of the deity, and this of the most degrading nature, it was difficult from, from, for, for them to conceive of the existence of the character of the unseen one. In pity for their weakness, God gave them a symbol of his presence. Let them make me a sanctuary, he said, that I might dwell among them. Exodus 25 verse 8. In the building of the sanctuary as a dwelling place for God, Moses was directed to make all things according to the pattern of things in the heavens. God called him into the mount and revealed to him the heavenly things, and in their similitude the tabernacle, with all that pertained to it, was fashioned. So to Israel, whom he desired to make his dwelling place, he revealed his glorious ideal of character. The pattern was shown them in the mount when the law was given from Sinai, and when God passed by before Moses and proclaimed, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth. Exodus 34 verse 6.